Hi everyone, Zach here, and welcome to lesson 59 in this series on developing a survival game. In this video, we'll finish out our lightning system. This series has been brought to you by Patreon sponsors, and you too can help support this channel, and all you have to do is hit the like button down below if you want to make sure you're here for the live streams, the tutorial releases, etc. Make sure to hit the subscribe and notify icon as well. And if you want, consider becoming a Patreon sponsor. Patreon sponsors get early access to these videos. All right, open up your project and we'll make a start. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the editor. Clearly I've just recompiled the material so the grass can show up, thus the check mark, and the grass actually on the map. So in today's video, what we're going to do is we are going to finish out our lightning. So we have the emitter set up in our particle systems, and now we're going to create two new emitters for our, systems for our lightning. And the first one we're going to create is the actual lightning and its flash. So go to your core particle systems, then right click FX Niagara systems, and we're going to do this from new or selected emitters. We're going to search, get rid of that, for our lightning, and will it let me edit twice? It will. We're going to use two lightning Niagara emitters, and this will be our NS lightning, if I can spell lightning. All right, let's pop that open, Control Shift S to save all. I'm just going to rename the second flash second one as NE lightning, not lighting, lightning flash. All right, with that done, let's just go through our emitters and start setting them up. All right, so let's just go through this from top to bottom, and we will start with our emitter properties. Just make sure everything here is marked correctly. It is. We'll go over to our emitter state. And here we are going to create a loop delay. And the reason we're going to delay the loop is the flash is actually going to go off first, and this will go part right off into that. Now it's going to be a very short delay of 1/4 of a second. So I'm going to put 0.25 in there. Again, everything will be infinite. Let's go to our beam emitter setup, and we aren't changing anything in here. We aren't going to change anything in our spawn instantaneous either. For our initialized particles, sure, we could set a color, but I don't really feel the need to. For our mesh attributes, which will be down, or particle attributes, nothing needs to be changed there. Our beam doesn't need to be changed. Our spawn shouldn't need to be changed. Our dynamic material instance, again, do consider what I said earlier in the last video about changing our, oh, that's the wrong part, about changing our approach to include this for our width of the beam. I'm not going to. I just think it might be a way that you can offer more dynamic sort of lightning to the world. For our particle state, we have nothing that needs to change on this one either. We have all of our setup there. For our jitter is fine. And then we have our lovely ribbon renderer. And everything in here looks fine. So just the delay needs to be added on this one. For our emitter properties, it's literally the same emitter. So we just need to change some things. We're going to go to our emitter state. We're going to have, we'll just mark this as 0 so it's clear that there is that loop delay that we're affecting over there. We will not change our start and end locations. We will not change our intensity. What we will be changing, definitely on this one by the way, is the color, and I want this to be a little bit brighter, so I'm going to go into the HDR range by going to 10 on these and 5.5 on my blue. Notice how that keeps it a very nice yellow color. We'll not change anything there. Our beam width we will change. We're actually going to go to from 4,000 to 8,000. And our dynamic material parameters we will change. And in here, our temperature. What we're going to do for this one is actually we're going to do a float multiply, and we're going to take the temperature here and we're going to multiply it by 2. So that is different. We're taking whatever temperature we put for the main bolt of lightning and we're doubling it here. For our particle state, we have no changes to make. We are going to get rid of our jitter position, so just unmark the checkbox there and gray it out. Well, we're going to test this, but I feel like I am actually missing something. Oh, no, we are missing something. We're going to add one new module to this, which is called scale beam width, and we are going to convert this over to a curve. so that what happens is that we have a bright flash and then it fades away. And to do this, we start with it faded away. So we're going to set this to 0 by 0. Look, we have a flat line now. And now we're going to add in a new key curve. We'll set it to 0.5 and 1. And to make this just a bit more natural looking, we're going to select all three of these points, hit 1, convert it over. And I'm not going to change any of the curves here. So we have this nice steady curve for increasing and then decreasing in size. All right. So what we need to do is set our temperature. So let's go over to our lighting effect here. We'll ignore the end positions. Our temperature is most definitely 8,000. And notice now that we have on our screen a little bit of a spark. Now what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to bring this, say right about there, and I'm going to just hit thumbnail and save. If I go back to our particle system, hey look, and I'm going to do the same for the rain. I'm just going to come in here. And this one just keeps playing, so thumbnail, save, and look, hey, you can do the same for the emitters as well. So for the base rain, well, the thing's showing up because, you know, how it's set up. Probably should have done that earlier. Lightning impact, we do get the sparks. Yeah, they aren't all that pretty, but you could make thumbnails for those. All right, so we have our lightning set up. What we need to do now is do our lightning impact real quick, and we're gonna just create a new emitter for this one. And I really wanted to do this in one emitter, but I honestly could not get it to work the way I wanted it to. So we're gonna just close that out. We're gonna find our lightning impact, which I have spelled wrong. So I'm gonna actually fix that before we go forward. And this is NE lightning impact. All right, there we go. And now we'll create the new emitter or system, and we'll close out the library, go down to here, find lightning impact, add it, finish. And this will be MS lightning impact. All right, let's pop this open. Here in a sprite renderer, we have the wrong material. Interesting. I must have made that mistake in the actual thing here. Let's go over here. Yep, okay, so let's change this over to M lightning impact instance. I don't know why it looks so off. That's a little bit more normal looking for what we're going for. And let's go through our emitter setups. So everything there is correct. Our emitter state is gonna change the loop duration to 1.5. We're going to leave our spawn rate at 50. For our particles, we will leave it as is. Sorry, I jumped ahead a bit. Cone location is fine. Our add velocity in cone is fine. Gravity force is fine. Just making sure we have everything updated. So when we make the emitters, we're making the base system. When we make the system here, what we're doing is we're actually setting what we want to show up in the actual game world. We aren't going to be changing any of our collision settings. Scales, force, and velocity, we won't change anything there. And particle size, we have our random setup. And then we are velocity aligned. I clicked the wrong thing. We are velocity aligned. That's good. One thing I do want to change, actually, is I'm looking at the test file. And while I said we're not going to have that other multiply in here, it does look pretty cool, actually. So I think what we're going to do is actually have that added in. And what we're going to do is we're going to just duplicate this multiply here. That goes into our emissive color. Bravo goes into the output from the first multiply. And we're going to create a new scalar parameter. And I'm just actually going to make this 1600 because I think it's actually pretty cool at that value. It's really bright on this, I realize, but let's go back to the emitter and take a look at what it looks like. Get these really bright sparks that you can clearly see getting smaller with time. Now we can even change the color of this in our system here. So we have this impact color, which is the color of the spark when it hits the ground. And I'm gonna give them just a sort of pale, faint yellowish color. Again, I've clearly decided on this before the recording, so I'm just going to give you the hex linear code for it, and it is Foxtrot 4, Foxtrot, Foxtrot, Alpha, 0, Foxtrot, Foxtrot. So it's that pale sort of yellow color there. And it's oddly looks a little bit paler on my other screen. This might be a little bit too yellow, but we'll test it in the environment. Go ahead and save that. And now, one of the most important moments in this section of the tutorial series. we are going to create our actor for our weather system. So go to actors, and in actors, what you need to do is create a new folder. I'll give you a guess what it's going to be called. Weather systems. You can say anything else. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. We're going to create a blueprint class of type actor, which will be BP weather system. All right, let's pop this open. And what we're going to do is we're going to start in the viewport, and I am going to just create a billboard, actually. No, we'll use the default scene route. It's fine. We don't need a billboard. We're going to create a box collision, and our box collision will be our lightning spawn volume. So this is actually what's going to determine our start point for our lightning. And we're going to create a very large box. We're going to start at a scale of 1,000. It's actually probably not big enough to remember correctly. By 1,000 by 1. And then we're going to set our Z value here to about 12,000. So 12, 3 zeros. And notice now that we have this massive thing above our start point there. So the lightning's going to start in the sky, unlike in real life. And now inside of this box, but we're going to start actually on the scene route, we're going to add in 2 static mesh components that are spheres. So I'm just going to search for sphere. And it gives me the basic shape static mesh. And it doesn't really matter the size, to be fair, but I'm going to default the size down to point. Actually, no, I'm going to leave it as is. It'll change on its own in a moment. Now, I am just instantly going to set this to no collision, because it shouldn't have any collision. It does not cast shadow. Oh dear God, it does not cast shadow. And hidden in-game. We want to see it in the editor, but that's about it. And next what I'm going to do is I'm going to just rename this as lightning start. I'm going to Control W duplicate it, and this will be lightning end. So these are how we're determining the start and end points. I'm going to select both of these and move these into my lightning spawn volume, and notice the scale is now changed to 0.001. And now I need to add in 2 emitters to our default scene route, and the first will be our, well, they'll both be Niagara systems. The first one will be our lightning emitter, which will be of type NS lightning. And you can see it auto-activated there. I'm going to turn off auto-activation for that one, just like we do for our rain. And then I'm going to add in another Niagara emitter. And this will be our, not as a child of the first one, unfortunately. This will be part of our scene route here. And this is our Niagara particle system. This is our lightning, or actually I'm just going to call it impact emitter. And that's because I'm less likely to grab the wrong emitter in the next few minutes if they have different names. So that's our impact emitter. You can see it's starting. Again, I'm not entirely sure if I'm happy with that shade of yellow now for some reason. And we will have auto activate off, Control save, or hit compile if you have it set up the same way I do. Again, sorry for the damn squeaky chair. I'm going to keep complaining about that. All right, we're going to get rid of the actor event begin overlap. We are going to use begin play, and we're actually going to use a tick in this one. Now, what we're going to do with the tick today is not what we're actually going to be doing with the tick in the series overall. It's just going to be used for debugging today. So we're going to get the lightning spawn volume. We are going to get world location. We've done this before, by the way. This is how we found the random point in our spawning volume. We're doing the same thing here. We're going to get scaled box extent, and then we're going to get random, sorry, let me just move those closer, random point in bounding box. And we're going to take this value, we're going to promote it to a variable, and this will be start location, and we'll put the start location in our lightning param folder. There we go. Plug that into our event tick there. Just move that up there for a moment. We're going to select these nodes, collapse it down to a function. This function will be calculate lightning start point. It will be a pure function, and I'm just gonna put this in the folder called lightning. All right, so the names don't match top and bottom like I normally did before, but meh. We are then going to take our lightning start point here. We are going to set world location. We are going to teleport to that location. And what location we're going to teleport the start to? Well, the start point we've just assigned. So you can either pull off of here directly into there, or you can take that and plug in that way. I prefer doing it that way. It's due to a very old bug. Next, what we're going to do is we are going to do a line trace. So we're going to do line trace by channel. And this is determining where the endpoint should be. And what we're going to do is we are going to get the start position again, or the, actually, why am I doing it that way? I have the start location. So I'm just looking at my prep file. We're going to get the start location, and we are going to, well, first plug this into our start here, and then we're going to take from this and do a vector minus a vector, and we're going to go down by double the, or actually, yeah, we're going to double the length of this. So we're going to go down by 24,000, sorry. Let me just make sure I get the right number in there. Units, so that when we set the start point, we can shoot a line down and go, hey, have I found ground? Or something to hit. Tree, person, ground, water. Based on the height here, we should always hit something, but, you know, I'm just being extra paranoid in case we move things around. We're only going to actually have our lightning event if, in fact, we have hit something. So I'm going to pull off the return value here and do a branch. If we have not hit something, then, okay, well, we'll try again later. You know, I just realized having this on a tick, this is going to go really quick. I might actually, for our test, not put it on the tick. So we're going to have a break, and we are going to find our impact point, and we're going to set this as our end location. This will be, again, part of our lightning. We will be updating this, by the way, to give it a little bit more variety, as I talked about in the last video. And we are going to take our end location here. We are going to set world location. We are going to teleport to this location, and it's going to be, well, the location we've just established for our lightning end, which I'm just double checking I did lightning start over there, which is our end location. I put that in the wrong folder, clearly. So we're going to just put this into lightning. You know what? No, we're going to have this mapped. It's going to be lightning and lightning. I don't know why I decided to put parameter as part of the name in the prep file. All right, next, what we need to do is we need to take our lightning emitter, and we need to set we need to set 2 vectors. So we set vector parameter. We're going to duplicate that node. Plug those into each other, grab this, put a little reroute in here, line those up, pull from that, plug that into there, line those up. Don't move the emitter like I just did there. Line those up and plug that into there. All right. So our first emitter is our start location, and our second emitter is our end location. So to our emitters, just going to make sure that there's no typos by copying that name. And do the same for our end location, even though I know what I wrote there, but I'm just a paranoid person. And our start location goes into the parameter, and our end location goes into the parameter. Now, we need to then activate our emitter. And for debugging purposes, we're actually going to have a delay in here. We're going to get rid of this delay, and I'm just going to mark this as a 5-second delay. And this is for debugging only. And this will give us enough time to see where our lightning will strike. And again, we're going to search for activate. We're going to reset it every time we activate it. Yeah, we're not doing this on a event tick, by the way. We're definitely going to move this in a moment. We will have a spawn sound as well, but we will take care of the spawn sound later on. We'll also have player damage if they get hit by lightning, and a camera shake event if they're nearby the lightning. So what we'll do is next move our impact emitter, and then we'll activate it as well. So we're going to take our impact emitter at this point. We will set world location. We will teleport to that world location, by the way, and we will set it to our end location. And then we will also move this to the side, actually, because we need to put a reroute here. Activate this. Come off of here, and we're going to activate and reset it again, our impact emitter. All right, so that is the basis of our system. We're ready to test it, except for we're not doing this on an event tick. So I'm going to select all the nodes here and just move them down this way. And I'm going to create I'm going to create the main event, actually, and it's going to be trigger lightning. We're just going to activate it differently. So custom event trigger lightning. All right, we're gonna plug that into there. And the funny part is, actually, we could set up most of the lightning stuff for the main event. Yeah, we could just actually do the main part. We're gonna, on the event begin play, set timer by event, and we will loop this every 2 seconds. We're gonna change it again later on. It is looping. We will create event. And hey, one of the nice things about 2.6, I can search Trigger lightning. All right, that should give us enough to test. So let's go back to our map here. Drop in our weather system that we've just created a blueprint for. And so BP weather system gets dropped into there. I'm going to set the start location to 0 by 0. And actually I'm going to set it to negative 750. It doesn't really matter. The reason I picked negative 750 is so that it's right on top of the water. So I know that the collision box on our system, if I select our lightning spawn volume, which for some, oh, I had to hit G again, you can see is right above our island. So we now have that system set up. I am going to create this is part of sky. Let's go to the sky for now. And we're gonna leave that in there. And now I'm going to not hit play. I'm gonna hit the little drop down next to it and hit simulate. Now I'm just gonna pull back from the island a bit. And then I'm just gonna pop into here. Make sure that I see that's triggered. That has. I'm going to select my lightning end and move towards it. There we are. There's our lightning bolt. It's re-triggered. There we go. Sorry, it is actually hitting the end, but it does move twice technically. I gotta remember to hit it the second time. I always forget to hit it the second time. And of course, I've just clicked off the thing, but you can see there's that little bit of a flash there. And there it is again. So we have our lightning effect. Now this will be much more pronounced when we've set up our, there you go, you can see the flash on that one. When we set up our system to actually display the darkening of the sky and all that other fun stuff. If you're curious, why is the system moving twice? That is part of the debugging system we have set up here. It's this delay and this timer don't line up with each other. So we do get a bit of weirdness, but hey, for now, we now have the basic part of the lightning system that we are going to use. We will be adding in thunder and lightning. One thing we didn't check, and I'm just gonna hit play. I'll do it from the character. I don't mind if the character starves to death while I do this. I've hit F8 to eject from the character. Interesting. Letting me see what I want to see. So I'm going to hit play again and definitely go into simulate. And I am going to select my end here, select it again. And what we're looking for is to make sure that the lightning actually has its impact spawner showing up. So what I'm going to do is just go over to this window here, and I'm a bit concerned that it is spawning in that at a different area. So what I'm gonna do is actually hit stop, get rid of the debugger, go back here, hit play again, and now when our lightning emitter moves, it should only move once. Why? There we go. So I am not seeing our sparks emitter. I'm going to quickly work out what's going on with that, and I will let you know. You know what? There was something I had made a comment on in our lightning impact emitter that said, oh, I had done that in the prep file as part of a test, and that it didn't work. Apparently it did, and it is something that we definitely do need to add in. So in our emitter, go to cone location. At least I assume this is causing the problem. And we're going to just do another vector. And this... I spelled vector, right? And this will be impact location. Now, if you were debugging this and you notice something really interesting is that the lightning doesn't hit the ground, yes, I'm aware of that. And I was going to show you that next, assuming the sparks had worked. And we will take care of that in this video. I just wanted to have you have the base system working first. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at our system here, and we are going to set our location for this. So our sparks. So the issue was caused by B being not a smart person. It was actually moving 3 times. I was wondering why I felt like it was moving much faster than I'm used to. So we're just going to delete that real quick, grab the impact emitter, plug that in, and now the impact emitter should hopefully move and activate. So we'll hit play. We'll click our impact emitter. That's our lightning emitter, our impact emitter, and yeah, our impact emitter is moving, and there are our sparks. Okay, not sure why the impact emitter is showing up in the sky, but if we move to our end lightning location, we can see the sparks are there. There we go. All right, so what we're going to do next is we are going to very quickly just fix one small little issue. The lightning isn't hitting the ground. And this is going to be a hint for how you can, say, update so the lightning's a little bit more dynamic that we'll talk about later on. We're going to do a vector plus vector. This is going to go into our end location. And we are going to pull from here and we're going to make vector. There's your first hint for what we're going to do. And on our Z, we're just going to minus 500. So it's going to get a little bit below the ground. Now when we hit play, and then grab our weather system and go to our lightning end, we need to go to the next one. Oh, it's going faster than I can. You can see it's actually coming under the ground a bit. So what we might want to do is increase the impact point for the sparks to be at a higher spot. But we can talk about that later on as part of the cleanup for what we're doing here. But that said, that takes us through what we need to do for this video. And if you've enjoyed setting up your lightning system and seeing that, hey, we can get a Niagara lightning system with a bit of a flash, which will be a little bit more obvious once we get the lighting fully adjusted for our weather system, and having rain so that we can have that feeling of actually being in a world where, hey, there is a full sort of weather system going on, even though the rain is literally located just around the character. Make sure to hit that subscribe and make sure to hit that like button. This series has been brought to you by Patreon sponsors like Hanas, Arian, Connor, and 1Vault10. If you want to be here when we continue to work on our weather system, and in particular in the next video, what we will be doing is we will be starting to work on our volumetric clouds. Then make sure to hit the subscribe and notify icon. That said, I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial and hope that you have a wonderful day.